Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and yes, today we got some more of that sweet salt from the salty batch files here. Your second dose of the week, of course, and we have some good ones here, great examples, more fallout in regards to Stalker 2. Those expectations, other expectations, we got some great examples here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I was saying, what we're going to do is get right to it here. We have quite a bit of posts here, and then we have some great video examples too we're going to go over. So first and foremost, let's talk about Stalker 2 like I just mentioned, right? If we all remember back, good old Gaz, not a supposed shill, a great best friend of Colt Eastwood, so you are the company you keep. As you can see here, Stalker 2 is looking insane, in all caps, insane, because, you know, trailers and things bolstered to make hype is going to translate to what the original product is going to be once it does, of course, release to the platforms. And we've seen this time and time again with Xbox and the quality of their content and stuff. And this has nothing to do with the developers themselves. This is just the fact of the matter. But let's fast forward to current times now with Gaz here. And like he says, oh, Stalker 2 embargo is lifted. Yeah, graphics are shit. Safe. So, I mean, as chill as they are, sometimes they'll call it down the middle. There's obviously, if you haven't been under a rock, you've been staying in the social media aspect of things. In regards to Stalker 2, this thing needed more time to bake. It's been a broken, buggy mess ever since its relaunch. And then, of course, they did do a day one patch, which has helped some, but has not squashed a lot of things. It's been a complete broken mess as we continue to go here. But again, do you see the differences here between these shills? What they do, they try to hype up. It's the same circle. We can make a chart, we can make a circle all the time for all of these shills, all of these grifters, you name it. They're going to come back and do the same thing over and over again. Hype, wait, build up, let down. Hype, build up, let down, that sort of thing. You get the drift, right? But let's continue going, because he's not the only shill that was doing it. Back in October here of this year, of course, back in October, not too long ago, Jez Corden himself, because we can believe everything out of this guy's mouth, right? Recently, I clocked in 3 hours in a near final build of Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl, which they misspelled Chernobyl, is that right? And I came away feeling like I'd played a clear Game of the Year contender. Again, this isn't even the full release that we're seeing right now, folks. This is supposedly a near final build, and he's out here stating that it could be a Game of the Year contender. I mean, there has to come a point in time. I know myself, even again, I prefer PlayStation, yes, but if there was a PlayStation dude, a PlayStation-centric dude that's coming out saying this nonsense, and then I get my hands on it time and time again, and they consistently lie, why do you do this to yourselves? I would be blocking. I would not be taking a lick of salt from this guy whatsoever as far as validity is concerned. But let's keep going. He's not the only shill here. We got good old Nico coming up as well. Review in progress, Stalker 2. The atmosphere in the zone is incredible with the shocked emoji kind of thing, right? And then James, yikes, it looks pretty rough, LOL, which with the video, if it was playing, it did look a little rough, right? So again, we got the hype, we're doing the chart, we're doing the full circle. The hype, the build-up, the wait, the disappointment. Now we have Nico here. Review in progress, Stalker 2. Look guys, I'll pause my review and wait for a patch. I'm facing a game-breaking bug that keeps crushing the game, which is crashing. I have no saves before this area, sad emoji. Xbox share, do not enter this church in the swamps. It's part of the main mission, Ad Astra. And basically it keeps crashing his game every time he tries to progress during this mission campaign piece. So it's just, they have no way to state it, because they do come out with their reviews. If it's not Hellblade 2 staring at the wall for 50 hours to inflate that playtime, then of course we're going to start talking about atmosphere here. We're not talking about, what do we do, Go? What do we do? What do we do with games, right? We play them. What's the most important thing in a game? It's a synonym as far as what a game is. It's gameplay. It's really, you know, what we're looking for. How does the game play? Is it fun? You know, you have the similarities there. Gaming, games, gameplay, it's all related. We're talking about atmosphere, the first and foremost thing. The first thing, it's great to look at something. It looks beautiful, blah, 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 all this stuff. But at the meat of it, you need the gameplay. Is it fun to you? Does it draw you in? All that stuff, right? It's a red flag, essentially, when we start talking about the atmosphere or something other than the gameplay itself right off the bat. Keep that in mind here, but really pretty pathetic here. So one more thing here, as much as I call Colt a shill, and he is, and we'll talk about that in a minute here, but we're bringing him up as we speak here. But Scirocco here stating, Stalker 2 is the most broken game since Cyberpunk 2077, which, pause, is a huge deal, because Cyberpunk, upon release, was a broken mess. It was unplayable, especially on the Xbox One and the PS4. Absolutely broken. Even powerful, beastly rigs. And I talked to a lot of PC-centric gamers that are friends and close relatives and stuff that do play hardcore with beastly machines. They could not play the game either very well. So continuing, in fact, it's worse, and playing it at launch feels like a role-playing is a QA tester. I cannot recommend this game right now, which is a shame, right? Like I said, this needed to be cooked quite a bit longer. I'm going to talk about that in just a second here, but as Colt, he states, I gave up after 6 hours. It's a downgraded, unoptimized mess on the Xbox Series X. So for once in that blue moon, he's being honest, but I don't know how he couldn't be, because everybody and their dog is having game-breaking issues with this game, as we've just attested to, right? It's a problem. It's a big problem. So when something's released in the public's hands, Colt can't necessarily lie right then and there. Now, if this wasn't in the public's hands, I guarantee you he wouldn't have said this whatsoever. So that being said, what I want to quickly speak to is, if you haven't seen already, Colt does have, as well as many other content creators right now, have had around 8 hours or so gameplay testing on Avowed for the Xbox, which is a current, console exclusive at this point in time for that. And then, of course, PC. The problem with that is, if we remember Phil Spencer going back saying, hey, we wanted Avowed, more time to do this and this and this. We have other games coming out. That's why we're delaying that. Now, you should have probably brought either Indie first, or you should have brought Avowed first and let Stalker 2 cook a little bit longer. I don't know who's overseeing the QA. I don't know who's overseeing, everything else in regards to this game. And I know a lot was going on with these devs. They're in the middle of war. They're lost devs, unfortunately, right? Horrible things, and a big testament to them to do what they're even doing. So big hats off to them. However, somebody, like I've stated multiple times, whoever's partnering with these guys needs to step in and be like, look, guys, whether it be investors or anything else that might be influencing this, you need to take a step back and be like, this is clearly not working right now. We already got a patch right away, so patch the crap out of this stuff before you release it. And just release it when it's ready, because a bad game at first is going to be bad forever, right? That's the quote that a lot of devs, and a particular dev or producer, has said multiple times. But just wanted to kind of speak that piece. But as you can see, Stalker 2 in a mess here. And then Colt continues, if you haven't seen this already, yes, I have the latest patch. Play in performance mode, there are glitches and frame drops. The game gets worse the longer you play. I'm 6+ hours in, right? So again, he's talking about Avowed when I brought that up in regards to playtesting, and he's hyping that to the moon. Why? Because it's not officially out in everybody else's hands. He didn't get to play, to my knowledge, Stalker 2 in advance. I don't remember, or I didn't see anything on social media where he attested to that like Jez Corden did. But, we can't take his word for it. He's already lost that credibility. He's going to have his followers that do take his word for it. That's why he has the amount of followers and sheep that he has. But let's continue here as we keep going. We have to bring up Bitch of Truth here, of course. PlayStation fans, Xbox is in last place. Of what? He states from me. Last time I checked, the Xbox platform was available on billions of devices across the world. This is the only truth to this, by the way, real quick. Astrobot flopped. This is incorrect. PSVR 2 flopped. Incorrect. It's still going strong. It's still selling decent. And it has a lot of games still being supported and coming out for it. Not first-party games, mind you. I'd like to see that. That's the problem. But we do have plenty of games coming out for it regardless, and they're performing and doing extremely well. So again, Incorrect. And then, of course, the Portal flopped. No, super incorrect. The Portal has been a very successful accessory, and a lot of people are very, very happy with this. So, again, incorrect. And Sony has to pay Microsoft 80% of revenue from Black Ops sales on PS5. Again, incorrect. It's a 70-30 split, and they don't pay them anything. Microsoft gives them the game, allows them to get published on there and all that. I'm sure there's some sort of fee or whatever, but the 30% they're getting from all the sales, and by the way, there is about a 70-some% sales split, if not more, in regards to sales on the PlayStation platform as opposed to the Xbox platform, obviously because of Game Pass. But even if it wasn't for Game Pass, that split would be very, very lopsided, and we all know and see that. So, again, he just likes to make up, and idiots like him, they grift. They grift. I don't know if somebody can really be that stupid. They grift, and ultimately it hurts the brand. I've talked about this multiple times. When you lie about a brand, you give up false assumptions, you give up false hype, or just spread that misinformation. It comes around when people eventually find out, and it harms the brand, and people don't want anything to do with a brand once they feel like they have been burned, right? Not much to say aside from that, but let's go to our last post here. I've been having to hurry along with these more than talk more in depth, because again, we have a couple videos to go to as well. But good old Mr. Hold the Line himself here, as you can see, Xbox has a secret weapon waiting to show the world. Again, more misinformation. What secret weapon? This system has been out over 4 years at this point. What secret sauce and weapon? They do this all the time. Again, we have to talk back to that circle or that chart of some sort, and they just keep talking about the same stuff. Hype up the product or game. Wait for it. It arrives. Major disappointment. Create misinformation. You know, you can mix all this around, shift it around as you will. It equals out to be the same thing. It's really, really pathetic, and I don't know what secret sauce they're waiting on. Please, if you know anything about this, let us know down in the comments below, because I guarantee you most of us don't. Now, let's shift over to the videos here. The first one here that we're going to share with you is just Mr. Boomstick here. As you can hear, you might hear some sort of a baby crying in the background. That is actually him, parody obviously, that actually him crying about the supposed acquisition that could happen with games from software and so on and so forth going to Sony, if you haven't heard in the last video and such like that. So go ahead and take a look here.
In the new year, I don't know how that works, especially if it's signed in the next couple of weeks. Lena Khan is still in there until at least January 6th. I don't know how this is going to be held up by regulatory bodies. But certainly the EU would definitely have to give a look at this, as well as the CMA, because this becomes a real big publishing issue and problem for anime.
Elden Ring. This game 110% will be exclusive to PlayStation's platform. I mean, I can't see Sony doing this any other way, and not a single regulator out there, not the CMA or the FTC, will actually step in to say no. We know this already because that is how it works. If it's an American-based company that tries to buy a publisher or a studio, the FTC and the CMA step in straight away. But if it's anything else, it's game okay. But this also has massive implications to the anime scene, giving Sony almost a complete monopoly, if not a monopoly, over the complete anime scene in the Western market, and of course in the Eastern market as well.
All right, so yeah, just the whining, complaining, it's not fair, just the baby mentality. It's okay that they can get ZeniMax, they can get ABK and all this stuff. And again, relax. If it was to happen, like I spoke in my last video, more than likely most of the FromSoft games and other stuff is not going to be exclusive. It's okay. By the sideways piece of it, I would say, is that maybe Demon's Souls, maybe a Bloodborne sequel, the Demon's Souls sequel, might see something like that, like a timed exclusive or exclusive. But when it comes to Sekiro, Dark Souls, Elden Ring, possibly a new IP in that genre from them, it's not going to be exclusive. So calm down on that front, not a big deal. It just makes sense with the partnership, I think, anyways, not a big deal. We're not trying to take things away, but they're very upset about it because all it is about grifting and who has what and when. It's not about gaming with those guys, so just keep that in mind. Now, let's flip on over in regards to the Game Awards here. We have another quick podcast from your same circle of group here, essentially, but go ahead and take a look at this.
We see he put out the most nominated games. And then Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, is also 7.
Joystick. Man.
So theoretically speaking, every time Final Fantasy VII wins, Astrobot loses. I'm just saying, you think about it, in the Galloper hierarchy, are they really going to put the little robot above Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? Did it win anything at the Joystick Awards? The Golden Joystick.
The winner for Best Audio Design is Astrobot.
The winner is Team Asobi.
Astro won Best Audio Design.
Oh my God.
And Studio of the Year.
Oh my God. Studio of the Year?
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
So there you have it. In real time, they don't even know their information before they join their podcast, before they say stuff. And I understand slip-ups will happen, this and that. But you gotta have your information right when it comes to something as simple as that and trying to downplay how great of a game Astrobot is. And then he gets mud in his face. He gets everything pushed in front of him like the moron he is. Again, it's just that baby mentality. It's not fair. This ain't that great of a game. Why is no Xbox games up there? They just don't stop. The delusion, it doesn't stop. I don't know what it will take aside from, even if Xbox was pulled out of the hardware division and they do go their full-blown third party, which is what it's looking like, even if that happened, again, they'll start spinning stuff and be like, the Game Pass theory is that was the exclusive all along, is just the game. No, people want the hardware, and the hardware is likely may not going to be sticking around. At this point in time, I don't know what the future looks like. I don't see anything shifting. Again, the sales from COD was supposed to be the end-all be-all. We do have to wait and see what those sub numbers truly end up being. But as far as sales, that is mostly shifted to PlayStation. That didn't change. It's going to be interesting to see if it did move those needles enough for Microsoft to warrant, like, hey, it's still worth this to put out another piece of hardware for the next generation. We'll have to see. Now, let's end it there. We had some fun with that here, but I know it's been a very tough 2 to 3 weeks for the Xbox fan base, and I think I have a good video culmination here that really encapsulates what they all went through, the BS, the misinformation, the crying, the whining, and before I talk about it anymore, go ahead and enjoy this video.
Is releasing on the PS5 and Xbox equals more money. But consider this. Consider how valuable each conversion to the Xbox ecosystem is going to be. You're talking about Xbox Live. You're talking about hardware sales, Game Pass. You make one person an Xbox fan. It's so much more valuable than just selling one more game on a second platform, right? So this is the next step in building an industry-leading first-party studio team, a commitment we have had to our Xbox community. With the addition of the Bethesda creative teams, gamers should know that Xbox consoles, PC, and Game Pass will be the best place to experience new Bethesda games, including some new titles in the future that will be exclusive to Xbox and PC players. That is what they said. Just reminding you what they said. I think that we see a future where there are a lot of Bethesda games exclusively on the Xbox family of consoles. Xbox just bought Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion. But I think in the future, all of the games will be Xbox exclusives. I think it's the same argument. It's the exact same argument. It's just more money. So if you can only play Call of Duty on Xbox, if you can only play the biggest selling shooter in the world on Xbox, you're going to get an Xbox, right? PlayStation is in talks to acquire the parent company of From Software. That means that they could soon own massive titles like Bloodborne and Armored Core. My concern lies with what does the future hold for titles like a Bloodborne remake or Bloodborne 2 or Armored Core in the future. You know, this is one situation where it seems like most people online are left feeling a little bit uneasy about the idea of From Software being acquired. I think them purchasing someplace like From Software would likely mean that they make those titles exclusive.
All right. So as you can see there, that video, I think, truly encapsulates the kind of weeks that they've been having as of late. I don't see anything like that changing, but of course they'll be spouting that delusion as we continue to see. But again, hey, at least we have the content from it, and the grifters are going to grift, and the misinformation spreaders are going to spread that misinformation. But that's why we're here, and I appreciate y'all. So that being said, we'll wrap up the video here. I know a little bit extra long because of those videos, but I had to share it, have to get this stuff out. So I appreciate you following along and sticking around to the end of the video. If you did, definitely leave a like, comment down below. Would love to hear from you. Both those things also help out the algorithm. If you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing, helping out a small content creator like myself. At this point in time, we did hit that mark of 2,500. Thank you so much. The next goal I think we can set is that 3,000 mark. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep going. We got the momentum, and thank you so much to the community out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and just remember, don't be a salty batch, and we'll see y'all next time on the next Xvault Gaming video. And until then, take care.